With Rise just days away, excitement for the game has peaked for fans and new players alike, so I figured I'd make a quick starter guide of my favorite weapons in the Monster Hunter series to help you guys out. Rise will likely be more complicated than previous games combat-wise due to the switch skills, the wirebug moves, and more, so the aim for this guide will be a quick and easy to learn base for each weapon so you start off on the right foot. More advanced guides will be made post-release, but for now, this should help you guys out. There is a training room area in the game which I still recommend checking out to get used to the controls, and there are hunter's notes in the options menu to check out some simple descriptions of each weapon and some of the effects. But when it comes to hunting and kill time, this guide should prove useful. Before that though, there are some adjustments to make in the options menu. Change radial system to click and auto sheave to not auto sheave. These things are default but usually end up messing you up in more ways than one. Likewise, this switch has ZL and ZR button names, but in my opinion that's just confusing, especially coming from console and PC, so I'll just refer to them as the classic L2 and R2. Starting off with dual blades, they are one of the easiest weapons to learn since there's less consequences to your actions and the extra mobility means getting hit less often. You get lower damage numbers than other weapons, but don't let that fool you. With the right element, dual blades can become a monster against, well, monsters weak to the element type of the dual blades. And in the end game, you can even get dual elemental dual blades for even more craziness. For DBs, there's less of a reliance on the combo, and more so just non-stop attacking and dodging, often using the A spinning attack to get in range between most attacks. Demon mode is by far the mode to be in, however, activated by pressing R2. It will drain your stamina while in the form, so be mindful. In this mode though, you'll gain increased running speed, and attacks are stronger and change slightly. The wirebug move Piercing Bind impales the enemy with a kunai and deals additional damage to that location, depending on how many hits you do to the monster with your normal attacks. So you basically use this move before every big combo. The Shrouded Volt Silk skill is also great, being essentially adept dual blades from generations that dodge an enemy's attack and shred them along the way. Pressing X plus A while in demon mode does the Blade Dance skill and does a lot of damage at the cost of locking you in place. However, there is an infinity combo in demon mode where you move the left analog stick 90 degrees back and forth after spamming X. You'll stay in demon mode indefinitely during these actions, and has less risk than Blade Dance as you can simply hit L2 plus A for the Volt skill move anytime to cancel it, or throw in a Piercing Bind whenever, unlike Blade Dance. Obviously, the monster won't be still forever, however, it is worth noting. Dual blades do chew through sharpness fast, however, so just keep that in mind that you'll be sharpening a lot with DBs. The Switch Axe, perhaps my second favorite weapon to hammer, is a beast in Rise. Swax has two modes, Axe mode and Sword mode, which you can switch by pressing R2, and if you hold the analog stick in a direction, you'll get alternative attacks. With the new Silkbind attacks, you can close in easier or even hyper armor through hits now. So the basic strategy for Swax is use Axe mode to close in or out of attacks since it's more mobile than the Sword mode, and when there's an opening, that's when you want to spam Sword mode, which has an amp state if you feel the sword gauge to full, which is done by attacks in Sword mode. Once full, you'll gain additional hits on attacks and can latch onto monsters when doing the X plus A sword mode move at full gauge. DPS wise though, it is better in some cases to hold back when you use X plus A for a quick explosion rather than the full animation, at the cost of depleting your meter. With the Silkbind move Switch Charger though, you can escape and charge your meter at the same time, making this playstyle very easy for fast kills. Going by Magnum Mallow speedruns, this strategy is faster than trying to build up the amp state for damage, but both will have the usage depending on the monster and depending on the Switch Axe. Just don't spam the Axe mode swing move too often, as it's subpar damage wise and can trip teammates. But it is how you do the Axe slam after pressing X 3 times and then holding forward in the direction you want to slam, or pressing R2 after the swings to do the Axe to sword mode combo. And the last weapon I'll cover is the Charge Blade. This weapon is similar to Switch Axe and has two modes, Sword and Shield mode and Giant Axe mode. Like Swax, Charge Blade has an ultimate move called Super Amped Elemental Discharge, or SAED for short. Your goal is to pull off this move as much as possible. There will be an alternative playstyle called Savage Axe later in the game that lets you shred with Axe mode, but for now you'll be default to this standard gimmick, which is using charged sword attacks to build files via holding down A, and then followed by X, which you can repeat that combo. Once you have the max files, you attempt a SAAD, either from sword mode or from Axe mode, but instead of finishing the whole thing off, you'll cancel its animation via R2. So from sword mode, hit X and then X plus A twice and then R2. Or from Axe, X plus A and then R2. This buffs your shield and makes the SAD stronger and Axe mode stronger in general. Once you have this, you simply get files again, and now you let the elemental discharge go off instead of pressing R2 during the animation, which will expend all your files for big damage. Or you can hold back while doing it to do a strong axe attack and expend one file instead in case you don't have the time or position to pull the whole SAD off. Last thing is you can amplify your sword as well by holding the X button during the shield buff animation, which makes you do additional file damage from sword attacks. With Rise, Silkbind attacks are the new hotness to further making pulling off SAD faster. Specifically counter peak performance, which counters an attack and gets you max files immediately. So largely, aside from the new Savage Axe mode, Chargeblade gameplay is the same as it was for World, except now you have a near instant counter that fills your files for even more SADs. Chargeblade has a lot more nuances that I'll cover in the official guide for it, but just know that if you can master the gimmicks of the weapon, it is a powerhouse of fun. And that is it for my last few favorite weapons. If you missed the first episode, it'll be in the end screen annotations for Hammer, Longsword, and Greatsword guide. But this is the last batch I'll make a video on. From here, it's advanced combo guides for each weapon I've covered, and maybe some additional ones depending on the views and amount of likes. Yes, I'm shallow, but by the time this is out, Rise will be out, so hopefully this helps a bit, and I hope you guys have fun with the game. I'll be streaming Rise later today and all of the weekends, so hop in the stream for some fun. Make sure to like this video and comment down below which weapon or weapons you plan to play through the Rise story. And last but not least, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more Rise epicness.